Hi everyone, my name is Donnie Lowy from Closeoutexplosion.com. I have a wholesale business in New York. Nice to meet you in New York. You're welcome to visit my warehouse. Today I'd like to talk to you about the advantages and the challenges of having an indoor flea market space versus an outdoor flea market space. Now, many people assume that an indoor flea market space is a better space than an outdoor space. And, it might be, but let's go through some of the challenges and advantages as comparison to an outdoor space. So, first of all, generally speaking, an indoor space at a flea market is going to be more expensive than an outdoor space. So, a challenge is that whatever you sell, you're going to need to take into account that you have a higher expense just as soon as you start the flea market selling day. Now, indoor spaces have another challenge. The operators of flea markets might expect you to sign a lease for that space, so you have to commit to paying, let's say on a monthly basis for that space. You might have to pay on a yearly basis, but you're going to be locked into that more expensive space. Now, let's go through some of the advantages. The advantages are that if a customer is walking in an outdoor flea market, it's really hot that day, and there's just so many vendors out there, he might get overwhelmed and say, there's so many vendors, I already looked at 2 or 3 vendors, I can't really focus, let me go home. Or it might be so hot outside that a customer might say, it's just too hot for me. My kids are waiting, they want to go home already, let me head out. But when customers in an indoor space, someone might feel more comfortable, they'll spend more time inside. Generally, there's less vendors in an indoor space than in an outdoor space, so there's less distraction. A customer could focus more on the merchandise that you have for sale. And another big advantage of an indoor space versus an outdoor space is that when someone's indoors, that it lends more to the appearance of a store. And people, especially when they're buying more expensive merchandise, they want to buy it in a place where they feel secure and they feel that they could find the vendor again. So if it's an outdoor space, and let's say a vendor is selling an expensive, let's say DVD player. DVD players aren't that expensive anymore, but let's say they're selling a DVD player, and a customer might hesitate because they might say, what if I buy this DVD player, I get home, it doesn't work, I come back, the flea market vendor might not be here anymore. But if it's an indoor vendor, then they might realize, this is a fixed spot, this vendor is here every week or every month. You know what, I could take a chance. So that's one advantage. Now, on the other hand, there's still advantages to being in an outdoor space because, first of all, if you're in an outdoor space and customers see you week after week, then you can let customers know that you have a monthly space, that you're always here. They could speak to the operator of the flea market. They could confirm that you're going to be there. So even if, let's say, a customer buys a DVD player from you, or they're hesitant to buy it, but then you explain to them that you're here every week, and then they see you every week, then okay, they'll feel comfortable because they know they can bring it back to you. And also, you can always give them your contact information so they can follow up with you after the flea market's done. Another advantage of an outdoor space is that a lot of people go to the outdoor space, especially if it's a nice day. They're not going to want to be indoor, they're going to want to be outdoor. Most people like walking around. And here's another advantage of being outdoors. Since there are a lot of flea market vendors outdoors, and there are a lot more flea market vendors usually outdoors as compared to indoors, many customers might only want to go outdoors because they might not want to go inside, because the assumption is that since there are more vendors outside, the assumption is that there's more of a product selection on the outdoor part of the flea market, and that also they're going to be able to find more merchandise outdoors, meaning they're going to get better deals because there's more competition, better selections. They might find a special closeout that is only found outdoors. So there's definitely advantages and disadvantages to being outdoors and indoors. And look, the weather's another factor. If it rains, or it's extremely hot, or it's a very, very windy day, then it's going to be hard to be set up outside, and customers just might not want to go outside. They might only want to go indoors. But another thing to consider, if it's a really rainy day, people might not even go to the flea market to begin with, so they might not even go to the indoor booth. So what I would recommend to you, if you are considering having an indoor space, I would first go to the flea market and see what it's like indoors, see how many customers come in, watch to see if the customers are actually buying more. Are they buying more inside, or are they buying more outside? Look at the vendors that are outdoor in a flea market, look at the vendors that are indoor in a flea market. And you can get a good sense by being there in person. And what I recommend to you is if you are considering getting indoor space, you've done your research already, before you commit to a month-to-month, be willing to pay a little more. Offer the operator of the flea market, if you can pay a premium instead of having to sign a lease, just to try out the space and assure them that if the space is good for you, you will commit and then you'll agree to sign a lease for that space. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video. The next time you're in New York, you're welcome to visit my warehouse. My website is closeoutexplosion.com. Thank you and have a great day.